Okay, well, I made a mistake. I posted some links to some videos about the semester project, and actually they ended up being older links to semester project that I used in class before, and I've changed the format of the project now. So those videos, they're not going to harm you if you watch them, but there's a few things that are different now versus when that video was recorded. One is this is a singular project. You do your own project, no group project. Right, so all the reference to finding a group, forming a group, we're not doing that. Okay, this is a one project. You're doing your own project, and at the end of the semester, you will submit a link to your project. That project will only be 3 minutes long. All right, not I think it was 5 minutes in that video for the group project. So 3 minute video on your own. Okay, and then a couple of smaller things. One is I just have you reference or really emphasize two references and no and two physiological concepts, and then no innovation project. All right, so before we would do an innovation aspect, I've actually taken that part out. I'm going to do something different with that than working that into the semester project. So individual project, no group project, 3 minutes long, 3 minutes long, that's the second point. Uh, physiological, two physiological terms, concepts, two references, and no innovation project. Okay, that's the main difference between that video that is posted and the project that you're doing now. So what is often asked at this time is for example projects and what have you. And I'm often very hesitant to show previous projects. And the reason for that is I don't want you to feel that there's a specific format that you need to follow. What most students do since we've been in this remote world is use PowerPoint, create slides in there, and then use audio, and then save the audio, and then save that PowerPoint file as an MP4 video file. Later on in the semester, I'll give you some more suggestions on how to do that or some instructions how to do that as well. What I often find easy, and a lot of students also do, is they use Zoom and then show the presentation during their own Zoom room with just them on it, and then hit record. That's how I do my lectures. And so even this one right now, I'm actually in a Zoom room. I've got record, and then what I'll do is I'll share my window throughout this presentation in different places. So that tends to be pretty easy. And then when you exit the Zoom room, it creates an audio file, and then you can upload that audio file, excuse me, of that video file to YouTube, and that YouTube link is what you're going to submit at the end of the semester. All right, so the other thing that students often want to know early on is what's the grading look like? And let me share this Word document, which just is an expansion from the rubric that I included before. So this is a rubric, which just is a fill in the blank, or it's sort of like a way to try to grade projects like this. And this is in your semester project description. And in essence, what you want to do in this semester project is land over here on this right-hand side of this rubric. If you're over here, you're going to get a good grade in the semester project. If you're over here, you're going to get a poor grade. All right, so you can go through this and look at these measurements or these different boxes and descriptors. Here's just some more information on this, how I approach grading. I'll watch each one of them. You're going to have a 3 minute video. I'm looking for accuracy. You're going to emphasize physiology, and you're going to highlight the terms and concepts that we cover in this class, but you're going to zero in on three terms and concepts. Define those, and then uh, define those and explain those very clearly. And clarity is a big issue here. All right, make sure that you have a clear presentation. And then you're going to highlight two primary references from peer-reviewed published journals. Now, you've watched some videos on finding those papers, and actually your semester project assignment this week is to identify one paper right now. Now, as you find that one paper, you're probably going to come across two or three others, and that's great. What we'll do is we'll do another semester project assignment, find another paper. You're not having to zero in on those papers just yet. But what I want to make sure is that you're finding peer-reviewed papers, papers that describe experiments, right? And that they conduct an experiment and they describe the results of those experiments, as opposed to literature reviews, which are great to have, but that is not what I want you to have for your citations. You're going to have your primary references being two from published peer-reviewed journals. And I'm looking for overall impression, use of time, presentation quality, creativity, yes and no. I don't worry too much about being overly creative, but I do want to let you have the opportunity to figure out the best way to illustrate the points that you're trying to make in this presentation. And here's sort of a scoring that I'll use. Are you too short, too long, or you're on target? You get 10 points. And what's on target? 3 minutes is what you're shooting for. And 3 minutes is a good use of 3 minutes. You don't want to end at 2 minutes and have music playing for another minute just to fill up that 3 minutes. And likewise, you don't want to go well over 5 minutes. Is way too long. Okay, you've got to figure out what's the critical information to present in a 3 minute roughly window. Making sure that you have identified papers. So they need to be primary source. I do not count it if it's a secondary source. So if you do none, you get 0 points out of that. If you do one paper, you get 5. If you get 2 or more, 10. And notice 2 is what it's going to get you your 10 points. More is not necessarily better. All right, you've got 3 minutes to emphasize some key points coming up with an answer. Terms. Oh yeah, terms, none, 1, 2. Oh, and actually, I think we're 2 terms, not 3. I'm off up here. So it's 2 terms. So if you have 1 terms, you get 5 points. You get 2 terms, 10. And of course, that's if you define them, and if you define them correctly. If you have an equation that goes with it, great. If you have units that go with that parameter, great. But from your presentation, you want to highlight and explain 2 key terms and concepts. And then your conclusion, if it's just sort of a indifferent conclusion, and when indifferent, I mean that you're not really trying to draw an answer to the question. And if you have an evidence-based answer, that's what we're shooting for. Now, what you'll find is a lot of the questions are unanswerable. And so what I'm looking for is that you are creating an answer, and we'll work on this later on in the semester project assignments. You're trying to come up with an answer based upon the empirical evidence that you've come across. And then I also give sort of an overall feel for the video if you've spent some good time on the video and what have you. And just a reminder, no copyright information. That means you can't include other videos, can't include copyright pictures. You're going to have all unique information. All right, so now let me try to show you, and I'm not going to show the whole videos, but I'm going to show you a couple of examples of videos that people have done. Come back to share. All right, so this is one of our presentations from KIN 456-656, Biomechanics of Endurance Performance. All right, and in this case, this person actually shot some video of himself running. I've got it on mute here. So this is from his own video. And he has his question, how to avoid running overuse injuries. And this video right now is just playing on a loop. That's his daughter. And then he starts having some text show up within this video. And now he's talking about this text. I'm not going to show you. Oh, and here's some. He's pretending he has an injury there. All right, so this is where you can have some fun with this presentation. But he's talking about these points, and then he goes into some more detail about running, some phases, description. Here he has some references where he's talking about injuries related to running, and then I'm going to go back all the way towards the end. And what type, he talks a little bit about stretching in here, and I don't see a conclusion video or page there. All right, but that's to give you a sense of some creativity with this. Let me show you another one. I didn't just close them all. All right, let me do this one. And this is another one from the same class. And here the student has the title, has his name. Please include your name. And now he's using this picture-in-picture, which just happens automatically with Zoom, that picture-in-picture will show up, and then it shows you talking as well. Not everyone does this. All right, you do not need to be in the video, but you'll see that it actually can give a nice feel to the video. And in this presentation, this student, Marcus, is going through some spring mass modeling. So this is the biomechanics course. And he talks about mass modeling here. He has some illustrations here to go through. And you can see the references in here. Here's some references here and up here. This is a great way to emphasize that the material that you're presenting is based upon empirical evidence. In this presentation, he's not actually going through these exact references, but he's showing that this statement, sprinters have a high K leg and K vert than endurance athletes, and he's got a reference right there. That really gives that statement much more strength than if he just stated that and did not have a reference, because what he's illustrating or demonstrating is that he's relying on empirical evidence to make this statement. And that's really what I'm looking for you to do in this project as well. Let me jump ahead. He's got this slide here. He's got another slide here, and he's got some practical application information on how to use the information that he's presenting. And again, he's got some references in here. Not that he's actually going through those references. So when I talk about including at least 2 peer-reviewed papers, this is one way to do it. So rather than going through specific details of each paper, you're actually using these papers to formulate ideas and concepts. And I think that's what he ended with. And then he included his references at the end. But I actually don't, I try to discourage you from only listing the references at the very end. What he's done is each of these references he's worked into the presentation, okay? And that's the strength. And then he's providing the references at the very end in case you want to look up the full citation. All right.
So looking at this in terms of running,
all right, now he's talking. Okay. All right. So that's those are a couple of examples. And I'll bring up some others as we go through our semester. But again, I want you to explore what you think is the best way to illustrate the information that you have and to present the key points within 3 minutes that lead you to an answer to your semester project question. Okay, I hope that's helpful, and sorry for the confusion on posting the older videos. Thank you.